Mm.
Hello, Karen.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Oh, it's good. Oh, very well. Thank you.
Happy to hear.
Mhm,
If you have any remarks or questions about the course, I would love to hear. And
mhm,
it's the first time I'm teaching any course, so I really want to learn how to improve.
mhm.
Have any?
It, mhm. It's a lot of information. It's a very intriguing course, but it's yeah, yeah, very much information.
Yeah, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hello, Yoshia, Joshua. Hello, Jonathan.
Hi,
How's Leipzig?
fine, interesting.
Okay, so I guess I can start. So just a quick brush up on what we did in the last few minutes of last week. We looked at Tigre and Tigrinya, which are they constitute the branch that is called non-South Ethio-Semitic, non-South modern Ethio-Semitic. And after that, we will take a look at Amharic as a representative for the branch of South Ethio-Semitic, which is a little bit more innovative. So a lot of these things, I showed the pronouns in Tigre because it's a really good example for something that Tigre preserves and Ge'ez does not, and proves essentially that Tigre is not descendant of Ge'ez. So this is the hey in the third person pronouns. Inges, these are wa'atu and yi'ati. And this is pretty much the verbal system, which is also very Semitic. So both Tigre and Tigrinya still distinguish these three basic Semitic tenses of the perfect, imperfect, and jussive. And I am emphasizing this because in Amharic, the system is different and a little bit more complicated, so to speak, or I don't know, a little bit different. So this is before the first thing to know about the development of many consonants and vowels in Amharic is that there's a lot of palatalization. Some of it has become new phonemes, or some of the palatalized variants have become new phonemes, and some still are active in the grammar. So, for example, if you take an imperative wusid to take, and you inflect it to feminine, it's wasij. So with a palatalized D, that becomes a j. And same thing happens to T, to ch, t to ch, l to y, n to ny, s to sh, and z to j. So basically everything gets taken back from alveolar to post-alveolar. And these are the pronouns. You can see that the pronouns are much more innovative than the ones found in Tigre and Tigrinya. So ane, ante, and anchi are pretty much the same, but the third person pronouns issu and iswa are generally thought to be related to the word for head, ras. So it should have been re'esu or something like that, and it started as himself and then became he, which is kind of a weird development, but that's the one that people usually believe. The variants with the R, irsu and irswa, are polite. There's a very developed system of politeness and respect, or whatever, in Amharic. It doesn't go both ways. So you talk more polite to the person that is older than you. And the plurals are generally made by prefixing some sort of particle to the singular, which is very different from other Semitic languages. So ane becomes enya, which is not very transparent, but ante becomes enante. So we can see that this is ante with the prefix in. Issu becomes enessu, and so forth. Are the pronouns in Amharic clear? Because this is really the least surprising thing. So everything clear so far. It's very different. South Ethio-Semitic is very, very influenced by Cushitic languages, and a lot of their typologies have also found its way to what we call the Ethiopian Sprachbund. So there's this list of features that are common to all or most Ethiopian languages. We saw already the copula and the gerund, the inflecting gerund. And in Amharic, a lot of these features are more common and more prominent, so to speak. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So this is the perfect, or the past. Essentially not very surprising, except there is the gemination. So gemination has, from the D stem, or from the type B, what we call an Ethio-Semitic, has infiltrated the type A as well. So in the past, it's always geminate. Sebbere, he broke. Sebberech, she broke. So sebbarat, but with palatalization. Sebbirk, you broke. Sebbirch also. Sebbirch, you feminine, broke. Sebbirku, I broke. I have never heard sabarhu, but sabbaru, they broke, or also the form of the respect. So sabbaru is also you that is older than me have broke or something like that. Sabbarachu, you plural broke, and sabbirn, we broke. So the suffix conjugation is pretty much the same as we would expect, so it's not very surprising. It's nice that I think Ethio-Semitic languages are the only, maybe one of the specialists in Arabic here will correct me, but I think that Ethio-Semitic languages are the only modern Semitic languages to have this vowel at the end of the third person masculine singular in the suffix conjugation, because in Arabic, I think it usually is changed to fa'al and not fa'ala. Is there a dialect that says fa'ala? I don't know. But interesting. Omar?
I don't think there's a dialect that have the A or A vowel in the
Ala.
end of the verb.
No dialect says qala, right? Or ala or what, something like that. Okay, thanks. Now, the first thing to notice, if we continue to talk about the past, that even though it's very, very similar, it's very, very different in the sense that to negate it, you can't just add a word before it. So lo or something like that, or ma, you have to change its form. So you have to add both a prefix and a suffix. This is called a circumfix. So there's a prefix al and there's a suffix m, and they have to add both of them, and only then it is negated. So sebbere becomes al sebbere. Is everything clear? That's why some people say that.
Remind me of the Hebrew al for
Yes,
the
this al is pretty much the same, and there's al in a lot of Semitic languages, also in al negating al in modern South Arabian. We saw it, and we'll see it again. And
but in Hebrew it comes with the future, and here it comes from with the past.
yes, in Hebrew, in Hebrew it only comes with the prefix conjugation, but probably the jussive or something like that, and it creates the prohibitive. And here, you add it with the past, but al as a negation is not that uncommon in Semitic, so it's not very weird. But in Ethio-Semitic languages in general, it's hard to find a word for no. And like maybe you've heard that in Amharic, there's not really a word for no. Probably I said it before. Okay, any questions about this?
What is the end before the end of the verb?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
At the end of the verb?
The M at the end of the verb. I don't know where it comes from. So I don't know. Could be something enclitic, could be some sort of, like, if this is the negating particle, this can be another negating particle, but it can also be something general. So like in Arabic, ma baktubsh, you have the ma, and the sheen at the end is probably comes from, I think, she or something like that. So like in I think in French also is je ne sais pas or something like that. Like, I don't know if that was clear. So I don't know where this comes from, but could be from some sort of pronoun, or I don't know, indefinite pronoun, something like that. Probably, but I don't know. Any other question? Okay. Now, what's different in Amharic and in South Ethio-Semitic languages compared to actually, this is more, I think, in Amharic than in the other languages, that there's no real yinegger imperfect or iparras used anymore, because new imperfect just is created by taking this form of the old imperfect and adding something to it, of the old jussive. So this is still used as a jussive or precative or something like that. So you can create these forms. Type A is like the G stem, type B is like the D stem, and type C is like the L stem. So in Arabic, fa'ala, fa'ala, and fa'ala. But to create the actual imperfect, you have to add this auxiliary verb, ale. So in order to say he breaks or he will break, you need yasibr, which is the jussive, and you add this helping verb, ale, which means is or is found or something like that, or is at a place. And then you have to conjugate both of them. So she will break tesebralech. You have to change the U to T from the prefix conjugation, but then the second part inflects in the suffix conjugation. So you have to inflect it as well. So this should have been yesebrale. I don't know why this it does not appear here, but in all the other forms, it is exactly like the suffix conjugation. So tesebralech, tesebralech, tesebrialesh. So you add even both the prefix and the suffix of the E, which creates palatalization. And then the ale with its suffix conjugation. Is everything clear? This form is a little bit complicated. This is the compound imperfect. Okay, and this is the negative imperfect. So it's based, again, on the same stem, but it's added with an a, probably I, or al, because that's what you have in the first person, and the m at the end. But if it's a al, here the L is elided in many of the places. So is this clear? How to negate a verb in Amharic or a sentence in general? Okay. This is the converb or the gerund, which we've already seen, which is a verbal form that is usually secondary in a sentence and inflects with the possessive suffixes. So, sebro, sebra, sebrech, sebresh. Something like in Hebrew, beshovro, beshovra, beshovrecha, but not exactly. And this is a sample text in Amharic. I will try to read it as best as I can, and we'll see. ሁለት ድምጦች ጓደኛ ሆነው በመውደድ ይኖሩ ነበር። Okay. አንድ ቀን በጣም ርቧቸው ምግብ ለመፈለግ ሄዱ። So you can see, first of all, that the verb is at the end. So neber means was. It should have been nebere, but this is an auxiliary verb, so it's also neber. Literally, it means sat, but it is used to conjugate something to the past. Yenoru is the secondary verb. That's why it's before the auxiliary verb. But it's the one that actually carries the meaning. It means they are living. So nore, to live somewhere. Yenoru, they are living there. This is the jussive, so or like the simple imperfect. So it's also probably related to the fact that it's conjugating with the neber. Bimewadid. I know that it's very weird that I'm reading the sentence from the end to the beginning, but that's how I feel about Amharic syntax. So, but in general, it means that two good friends were living close to each other or something like that. So b'mawadid is in closeness or something like that, of course, related to wood in Arabic and yedid in Hebrew. Honeo is the, well, I think it's the gerund of hone to be, which comes from kone, kana. Guadagna is the word for friend, and it's, as you see, not very, I don't know, similar to anything else. And
Isn't it similar to Bimmawadid? Like the same?
no, I don't think so, because here it's there's only one D, and there's the enya is a suffix, but guade is the stem.
Okay.
Och is the plural suffix, so like at, but it's for both genders. There's no real grammatical gender in Amharic for non-living beings. So for people, there is grammatical gender, but for a car, for example, you can talk about it in masculine or in feminine, and it doesn't really change anything. And hulet is two. And is one. Ken, day, so one day. Betam is very. Rebuacho is an impersonal verb, to be hungry. So rob is the stem. Rebuacho, they were hungry. Megib is food. Lemefeleg, to search. Hedu, they went. Everything clear? Okay. And in a sharp transition, we can go to look at a little bit of the modern South Arabian languages, which are much more Semitic in their character, but still have a lot of, still diverge a lot from other Semitic languages. This is the pronouns in Jibali, as you all remember, I'm sure. He, I, hat, you masculine singular, heat, you feminine singular, she, third masculine singular, se, third feminine singular, and so on. So this already shows that it's different. There's no N or Aleph or Kaf in the word for I, and so on. There are some phonetic processes that happen in Jibali specifically that are interesting. And they help us understand certain words and just shows what can happen when a language develops. So the word for house is boot, but since B is elided intervocalically, the word for the house, which should have been ebut, is just ut. E is from abi. Kot, female dog, from kolbot. The L is elided in this environment in all of modern South Arabian, and some of the languages in more environments. Sieb, reason, which comes from sabab. Ari, Arab. Loon, white, cognate with Hebrew lavan. Yok, he cries, from yabok. Osir, he gave good news, from abosir. And so on.
What is the reason for the
Just happens. What is the reason for Beged Kefet in Hebrew? And specifically in Jibali, there were problems with the labials. So bet and mem and wow pretty much substitute each other in certain environments. I don't know why, but just happens. So here are examples for M being lost intervocalically, which usually results in a nasalization. So the word for rifle is mandik, comes from bunduk, but the B has changed into M. And the word for the rifle, indik, from emandik. The sons, from emin, from bin. Ahfer, basket, from emahfer. Oman, from amun. Ahri, the mehri, from mehri. And so on. You can see these nicely in the numbers that have M. So khonsh, 5 masculine, khish, 5 feminine, finit, 8 masculine, thoni, 8 feminine, and thrinin, 80. Any question? So I've already mentioned the shift of B to M in certain environments, but it is, I guess, less interesting. And there's also a shift from wa to b, usually before a consonant. So tabtzif, description, sabr, advice, ksabet, clothes, and so on. You can see a lot of the words have cognates in Arabic. There's a lot of similarity with Arabic, but there's also a lot of influence from Arabic. So you need to keep that in mind. And when L is lost, usually before a consonant at the end of a syllable, so off, thousand, god, skin, cob, dog, or wolf, actually, and so on. And like sutun, sultan, and so forth. Shothet, 3. The suffix conjugation in modern South Arabian is pretty much the same as we would expect, specifically the same or very similar to Ethio-Semitic. So you have done something, fa'alq. I have done something, fa'alq, with a K in both of the persons. And the second person feminine singular with a sh, which is a palatalized variant of the K, or rarely a labialized variant of the shin. In the first person and second person duo, it's fa'al shi, also from fa'al kai or something like that. We did fa'alen, and he, they, and they, masculine and feminine, are all fa'al. So we can see that the u suffix and the a suffix here and the a suffix here have not really left a trace, but that's not true for all for all modern South Arabian languages, because in some of them, the third person masculine singular is different. But the third person feminine singular and the third person masculine plural. The third person feminine plural is always the same as the third person masculine singular in all of modern South Arabian languages. That was quite complicated. So I'm going to say it again. So in all of the languages in modern South Arabian, the third person masculine singular and the third person feminine plural have merged. In Jibali, the third person masculine plural has merged as well with these forms. Sorry. Any questions? Okay, so this is the GA stem. So this is pretty much parallel to fa'ala. We can see that there are different variants with the inflection of this stem. So for example, if nothing is wrong, then it inflects qadar, he, qadarot, she was able, or something like that. But if the first, no, sorry, if the third consonant of the root is voiceless and non-emphatic, then the vowel between the second and the third consonants of the root is elided. So koloth, kolthot. The same thing goes for the imperfect. Qadar, qadarot, yaqadar, koloth, kolthot, yaqals. But the subjunctive, yaqdir, yaqlith, is the same. If the first and the second consonants of the root are voiceless and non-emphatic, then the vowel between them is elided. So sfar, sfarot. In yisafar, you can't elide this vowel because it's stressed. So it's still yisafar and yasfar. If all of the consonants of the root are voiceless and non-emphatic, then this form, skafot, can even be realized as just skfot. So there's a lot of vowel deletion in the neighboring vowels between consonants that are voiceless and non-emphatic. This is something in common between all modern South Arabian languages. So a lot of the allomorphy and allophony that became allomorphy in these languages stem from the effect of these or the gutturals. Any question? Something that N does is to raise vowels for some reason. So instead of yenox, it's yenuk. But does anyone know to say why there's no vowel here between the second and the third radical of this verb? Anyone? So why is there no vowel here in the second, between the second and the third radical? So here it's yesofar and here it's yesokf.
Because they're both voiceless and non-glottalic.
Thank you. Yes, the same here. So this is given as an example for prima nun, but it also has two voiceless and non-emphatic consonants adjacent, and therefore the vowel is dropped. Okay, thank you for that, Jonathan. So the subjunctive, lof'il, let me do, or that I do, tof'il, tif'il, this is you masculine singular, you feminine singular, so we see this vowel change, this melodic rewriting or vowel harmony or umlaut or whatever you want to call it. Here it affects both vowels, which is not very common. So tof'il becomes tif'il from taf'ali or something like that, or taf'ili. Yof'il, tof'il, lef'ilo, tef'ilo, yef'ilo, tef'ilo. Everything is completely regular, and most of the non-stressed vowels are just become schwa. In the plural, it's a little bit different. So there's nif'il, tif'al, تفعيلا يفعل تفعيلا. So once again, we see that the second person feminine plural and the third person feminine plural is the same, just like in Hebrew, which is nice. In the masculine plurals, we see an all vowel, which does not appear in the singular. And in the first person plural and also the other feminine plurals, we see this vowel, which does not appear here. Now, I don't know why it appears here, because usually the first person plural form is pretty much the same as the singular forms in all of the Semitic languages, but some of them did undergo processes of making them a little bit more plural. And this might be what happened here, but I don't know. Any question? Okay. In the imperfect, we see the fa'il. This is pretty much parallel to iparris. The fa'il, تفيعل. So not تفيعيل, but تفيعل, just with one E-ized vowel. يفعل, تفعل. And here, نفعل, just like the singular, but also the other plural masculine, تفعل, يفعل, just like the singular. So no difference here. And the same in the plural feminine. The other form that we haven't really discussed so far, conditional form, which appears in all of modern South Arabian languages. It is always based on the subjunctive with an added suffix, including n, usually schwein n or ann. I don't know where it comes from, but it might come from the energetic or whatever. So for lofil that was before, we get lef'ilan for the conditional, tef'ilan, tef'ilan, yef'ilan, tef'ilan, and the plural forms are exactly the same as they were before, just with the n at the end. And if there's already an n at the end, then they are exactly the same. Any question? Okay, we will have a forced break in about 4 minutes. Now the GB is parallel to what? Does anyone remember? If the GA stem is parallel to fa'ala yaf'ilu, what is the GB parallel to? It's the more adjectival type. Omar, unfortunately I can't really hear you. You can write in the chat if you want. Anyone? No, so it's not of the D stem, fa'ala, the second form. We don't really have that. That's the type B from Ethio-Semitic from before, so I understand the confusion. But this is GB, so the second type of the G stem of the first form. So in Arabic, you have fa'ala yaf'ilu or something like, or fa'ala yaf'ulu as the first type, and the second type would be fa'ila yaf'alu, the more adjectival one. So that's pretty much what we have in modern South Arabian as well. So fikr, for both the third masculine singular, third masculine plural, and third feminine plural. He was poor, they were poor. Fikr. And this form pretty much stays the same with all of the suffixes. So fikr. The only change is with the all suffixes. So for the third feminine singular, fikirot, where this changes into an e, an unstressed A. And in the duals, fequero, fequerto. In all the other ones, it's just fequero. Any question? So the subjunctive of GB, which in some of the languages, in modern South Arabian languages, it is the same as the imperfect, but not in Jibali and Sokotli, so and Hobyot. So we can look at these. So the subjunctive is lifqor, let me be poor, or that I be poor. Tifqor for the feminine, second person feminine singular tifkir. The first person plural nifqor is exactly like the singulars, so that's interesting. It's not. It is like the feminine plural, yeah, first break, and not like the masculine plurals with the a vowel. Is everything clear? So perfect has a second stressed vowel, the secondarily stressed a before the all. This is the one dropped in the other modern South Arabian languages that have merged the imperfect and adjusted. So it's difficult.